time to look back at the last Forge FC contest.
Simply stunning stuff! And finally, their goal!
Here is Match and Review.
My word, what a rocket!
With Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network.
Hello, Forge fans. It's the Forge Audio Network. I'm Anthony Urciuoli, and it's Match in Review. Forge FC 4-3 winners against Atlético Ottawa here at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. The final whistle has gone. Players greeting each other. Fans will be on the field soon. And what a match it was. In recent memory, can't remember the last time I've seen a match this bizarre in a lot of ways, but also really entertaining. And for Forge fans, well, you end up on the right side of things. So it was a good day all around. Forge FC with a 4-3 win. Let's break this down here and just make sure we have all of our T's crossed and everything ready to go, as this is a live broadcast, as you know. All right. So listen, coming into this, we knew there were some struggles here from a Forge FC side of things. Things not going well, the team not really scoring at the rate that we've been used to, and it just hasn't been the Forge team that we've come to expect. Fortunately, things turned around in this one, and I've been saying it. This isn't like a I told you so thing. It's just, I think we all kind of felt it, right? That eventually this team was going to break through. The floodgates were going to open, and there's going to be an offensive explosion of sorts. Now, they got a little bit of help, but it kind of balances because they haven't been getting much luck going into this one. So let's go right to the beginning here. Forge FC comes out in their 4-3-3, 3-5-2 kind of hybrid look with Borges, Taron Campbell, Pasillas up top, and down the middle, you had Becker, Sissoko, and Kane. Now, it was interesting, and I love this. Kadeem Kane finds himself in the lineup, a young player coming off a really tough match against Vancouver last week, made a mistake that a lot of young players make. It is what it is. The confidence from the coaching staff to put him right back out there, to get his second consecutive start, speaks volumes, and he was good in this match. And, when you show confidence in your players, you see it reflected in their performance a lot of the times. And that was the case with Kadeem Kane in this one. On the back line, you had Dominic Samuel, Mandrakar James, Malik Oluwabi-Bellewu, and Razart Rama. And the reason I called it a 4-3-3, 3-5-2 kind of hybrid is because Rama kind of jumped up and joined the midfield when Forge was on the attack. So they kind of changed their look depending where possession was, and Tristan Henry in goal. Ottawa with their 4-1-4-1, that mid/low block that they like to play. This formation was conducive to it, but I got to tell you, formations forget formations and game plans, because those were thrown out the window very early in this one. 7,000 fans, by the way, at Tim Hortons Field for this one on a Sunday. Great turnout. The crowd was hot, and they had plenty of reason to be hot in this one. 22 seconds in. We're still kind of awaiting the official word on this. There's a very good chance it may have been the fastest goal in CPL history. At the very worst, though, it was the second fastest, depending on where you're looking, because and I'll tell you why. So first of all, Ottawa opens the scoring 22 seconds in. Gabriel Antonaro. Forge, to be frank, just, I don't know. I don't want to say napping, but just way too easy. I mean, it was off a throw-in, a direct throw-in leading to a goal the way it did. Antonaro busting through two defenders. Sometimes it's just, you wonder when a goal comes that early and that easy, you wonder if just players just weren't alert enough right off the hop. So an easy one, essentially, for Ottawa. I mean, good effort from Antonaro to bust through those two defenders, and the finish was there. So that was at the 22-second mark. The official fastest goal in CPL history, also from an Ottawa player, was 21 seconds in. And the CPL guys up in the press box were they had both goals up and with stopwatches trying to get. It was about half a second late, this Ottawa one, from beating the original record. But regardless, 22 seconds in, Forge, who have just been fighting it, just mentally, trouble scoring, having gone 3 matches to this point without a goal. And at that point, you're wondering, wow, I mean, could this have been a worse start for Forge FC? The nice thing about that bad of a start at home against a team that's kind of fighting it, it's a nice little kind of shot in the arm early on. It's early motivation, and it worked because I don't even, bizarre is a way to describe the way this game opened, but a lot was going on. So this goes in 3 minutes later. Forge gets on the board. Ottawa, a lot of help from Ottawa, let's put it that way. So much so that it was an own goal from Ottawa. Neba Campbell tried to go back to his keeper, Nathan Ingham. Terrible pass, by the way. The keeper's going to look bad on this one. But when you're going back to your keeper, number one, you want to be sure. But okay, the ball that was delivered was a bouncer. I mean, just a terrible ball. Hopped over Ingham's foot into the goal. Thank you very much, Forge FC, after a disastrous start. Get on the board, break that scoring slump. It snapped a 273 minute scoreless drought for Forge FC. So, like I said, fighting it. And so Forge on the board, a little bit of help, but okay, you take it at this point, especially when luck hasn't been on your side. And then open those gates. Taron Campbell, of all the guys, he's one that you really wanted to see break through in this one. The league's all-time leading goal scorer. Again, fighting it. Also, I mean, if you have the opportunity to watch Taron Campbell live, I don't know that there's a harder working forward. I mean, okay, I'm sure someone could make an argument for him being as hard at working as someone else, but just his work off the ball. I mean, that motor on Taron Campbell's like nothing you've seen. He works so hard off the ball to give himself opportunities. And in this one, Taron Campbell gets on the board. Thank goodness. And by the way, he wasn't done for the day. But at the 11-minute mark, it's Taron Campbell. The assist, a beautiful assist from Rubens Pacias. Also, a little bit of help from Ottawa, who was just awful, by the way, defensively in this one. Max Tissot gave it away, just blatant giveaway in his defensive third right to Rubens Pacias, delivers to Taron Campbell, who had a wide open goal, and he finishes it clinically. 2-1 Forge. And I was only laughing because you think about how much Forge has just been struggling with finding the back of the net, despite all that work, the expected goals, the possession, the shots on target, all that stuff that just wasn't resulting in a goal. Here they are with 2 goals, both from Ottawa mistakes. And at that point, the score was 2-1. The expected goals in this one, virtually 0-0. It was like 0.32 for each team or something like that. So both teams with 0 expected goals. Somehow we had 3 goals right off the hop. This is what the club needed. You knew eventually it was going to come. And then Taron Campbell, not done. Puts Forge up 3-1. This one, a very pretty goal. No help from Ottawa on this one. Tristan Borges, another guy that needs to get going, that wants to get going, that's fighting it a bit, but putting all the work in, which means the results will eventually come, especially with a guy with that level of talent. Maybe the most talented player in this league. Tristan Borges gets his first assist of the season, which is even weird to say. He flips the ball up to himself, volleys it up to Taron Campbell, clinical finish with his head, gets up above everyone else, and Forge is up 3-1. Taron Campbell has 2 goals. Borges has his assist. Pacias has an assist. Everyone's on the board. Crowd's loving it because of all the action that's happened early on. And it's tough to top that. So the rest of the half remained scoreless. We went into halftime. Halftime stats. Expected goals, 1.14 for Forge. Obviously helped by Ottawa a bit on those first two. Helped a lot by Ottawa. So 1.14 expected goals for Forge. Ottawa 0.31. So Forge doing it defensively as well. Best defense is ball possession. And Forge had a lot of it. 67% in that first half. Shot attempts 9-3 in favor of Forge. Shots on target 6-1 for Forge FC in that first half alone. Completed passes, which this typically also kind of correlates with possession. Forge had almost 3 times the amount of passes. Forge completed these are just completed passes. 224 completed passes by Forge FC in the first 45, 87 from Atlético Ottawa. That kind of told the story there. Coming to the second half, Ottawa makes a triple switch right off the hop. And the half was going Forge's way. I mean, complete control. Ottawa not getting much done. It's exactly what you needed. You're up 3-1. Use your possession. Do what you do best. And that's just control the flow, the pace, the possession of the game. However, sometimes it just takes one mishap, one miscue, one call that doesn't go your way. And that's exactly what happened. 64th minute. The fans Forge sure thought that Ottawa got away with back-to-back fouls in a matter of seconds. No calls. 2 Forge players on the turf. And Ottawa takes advantage. They're up on the attack. All of it. And then this is what makes it even worse. Is a foul was called on Forge on the edge of the box right after those 2 missed calls. Forge with a call against them, just outside the area. Free kick for Tissot, and it was a beauty. Curled it in to the near post. All of a sudden now, here for a club that is fighting it mentally, now that we know the result went Forge's way, we can look back at this and say, these are kind of the things you look at in a team. If you're a coach and you're trying to assess your club and where they are mentally, we know where Forge is from a, talent perspective and what they can do. But the real test here was the mental one. So now it's 3-2. Things not going your way. 2 missed calls. The team's hot. They're upset that they didn't get those calls. Coaches are obviously upset. A lot of screaming going on. 2 minutes later, tempers flare. And this is where you start to question. Did that goal unravel and those 2 missed calls, all that combined, plus it was a really pretty goal from Tissot on top of that. Just a frustrating moment for Forge. So you wonder now how the team is going to respond. They did not respond well. Tempers flared 2 minutes later. Henry got knocked down. It very clear. He got body checked essentially by it was Salter that just ran, just like chest out, knocked Henry over from behind. Dominic Samuel defending his goalkeeper. At this point, Salter standing inside the goal. Samuel gives him a little shove. Salter falls back into the netting. That's going to draw a crowd. The teams come together. You're worried a little bit at that point if we're going to start seeing some reds. Fortunately, no reds. Pair of yellows for Salter and Samuel. So we play on. Again, we're starting to question. At least I was, if I'm being honest. Is this where mentally things kind of unravel? Because these are not good signs after that second goal from Ottawa. 3 minutes after the little kerfuffle inside the goal, Forge makes some changes. Jensen and Poku in, Sissoko and Borges out. Forge now forced to defend, right? Things working against Forge, and now Ottawa has the momentum, and it's very clear because Forge is back on their heels. And they are defending. 72nd minute, Johnny Dos Santos ties things up. Ottawa down 3-1. draw level, 3-3, defending way too soft. They allowed Ottawa to break them down. So many soft spots, so much room, way too much space. DeSantos it was a nice finish. Regardless, we are tied, and I'm at this point I'm prepared to jump on the broadcast saying this team's fighting it. There's clearly a mental barrier here, and this was I had in my head. I'm like, okay, yes, there's clearly a little bit of there's an issue here psychologically, and Ford just not able to respond well to Ottawa's push. And I was ready to say there's good signs. I had everything ready. They scored a few more goals. They're working their way through it. They're almost all the way out of it. They earned a point, all these things. And then the script was just rolled up, thrown away, thankfully, because in the 82nd minute, this was vintage Forge FC. If you have an opportunity, because the highlights might not even do this goal justice, you need to watch the build that led to this goal. I had my eye on Kyle Becker. Off the ball. Forge was kind of working the ball with their back line, trying to find a space, and I'm looking at Becker, some dummy runs, kind of stops and starts, trying to get open. All of a sudden, he sees the ball go to Kadeem Kane, and Becker peels away from his man, gets himself into space, calls for the ball. Kane delivers it into the midfield. Becker, no-look flick behind him with his right foot. The ball finds itself to Poku on the left side, who just come on. And by the way, at this point, Jordan Hamilton was standing ready to come in. So Taron Campbell was about to come off, and Hamilton was about to come in. Poku, though, beautiful lob in the air. He had Campbell and Pacius in the area. And Taron Campbell, I just want to point this out too. This is what you need to watch. If you can watch the highlight, great. If you have a chance to see the full play in the build, Taron Campbell has 2 goals. He's looking for a hat trick. The ball's in the air, and his eyes must have been wide open. Like this, here's my 3rd goal. I mean, this is a layup. He doesn't make an attempt on the ball. He acts as a decoy. He jumps, but he doesn't go for the ball. He jumps and he takes his man with him because he knows he has Pacius behind him. Selfless play from a guy who's been fighting it, had 2 goals, could have had a hat trick. He could have been, that would have been the story. I mean, a Taron Campbell hat trick, selflessly, plays the decoy, takes a man with him, jumps in the air, but doesn't go for the ball, leaves it to Pacius behind him, and Pacius makes absolutely no mistake. Clinical finish inside the post. Now it's 4-3 for Forge. There was a push by Ottawa, but Forge held strong, and that was the final, 4-3. If you were a Forge fan, this result was a thing of beauty, because think about what had to happen here. Team struggling to score, they score 4 times. A team battling it mentally, they blow a 2-goal lead at home, a place that they have been struggling to get points in, right? Uncharacteristic of this team. Still, they found a way, the resiliency, the tempers flaring, players sticking up for each other, calls not going their way. They fight through it. And by the way, Atlético Ottawa scored 3 goals in this match. Just as a reference point, coming into this match, all time, Atlético Ottawa had scored 3 goals against Forge. All time. And I have to pull up the official record here because, it's been a dominant, I believe Forge is 10 against Atlético Ottawa. 10-1-2. All time. Forge is 10-1-2 against Atlético Ottawa. In 13 matches against them, Ottawa had scored 3 goals total. They scored 3 just in this game. Everything was trending toward us trying to find positives in Forge's game despite the results. But no, they battled through, guys playing for each other, sticking up for each other. Tristan Borges gets on the board with an assist. Pacius on the board, a goal and an assist. Taron Campbell with 2 goals and a selfless play that led to Pacius's goal. Becker creating things, the architect, the maestro in the midfield, leading to that game winner. Kadeem Kane, who started that playoff by passing to Becker, right? He had a tough moment in that last match against Vancouver, which could have totally just deflated him. The coaches could have lost faith in him, but he gets a start again and delivers. I mean, this was maybe, again, the result isn't going to say perfect effort or just, incredible performance. But when you look at all the factors and the nuances in this was just a brilliant performance. This was the exact kind of game Forge needed to win going forward. And, they improved their record now to 11-1-2 against Atlético Ottawa. All time. They get a home win where they desperately needed it now because, again, they're on the road now. Friday, there's a 6:00 start in Halifax, and then they play, I believe they're on the road again. Excuse me, this is a live broadcast, and my computer is loading. But okay, so we know, I believe Forge isn't home for another 3 weeks. So the couple of road matches in between, with Halifax being the next one. But they really needed this one, and they really needed to feel good about something, just anything, after that match against Vancouver. Not only can they feel good, they can feel great about the way they won and the way they came together as a team. Thing of beauty. I think this was the most perfect result Forge could have asked for. And just to continue my thought from earlier, yes, so Vancouver, they play Halifax on Friday on the road. Quick turnaround against York. It almost looks like a mistake in the schedule because the games are so close together, but I guess it's accurate. So then they play York on, that's why I'm looking at it wrong. There's a week off. So Friday, the 30th at Halifax. July 9th, they will be at York. And then they come back home to play Vancouver on Valor on July 15th. So they're going to be away for a few weeks. And they wanted a positive result at home. Looking at the standings now. A final in Hamilton. And some teams have caught up with their matches in hand. All of a sudden, and this is the thing with this league, right? And we've talked about this before. This league, we can talk about points and matches in hand and all those things. When you're in an 8-team league, I mean, the table flips so frequently because everyone's playing each other so often that these matches in hand, you get so many opportunities to play against the clubs you're chasing or trying to fend off. So when it seemed like the sky was falling because of our expectation level, let's be fair, right? We're used to excellence, dominance, just championship play consistently, and we weren't getting those results from Forge FC, and we've been spoiled. We have been. So I think it's the sky is falling type stuff. It seemed like an overreaction, but also I get it. I mean, it's fair because it is a little worrisome when we see this team struggle. But after all that, 3 losses in a row and they didn't score in 3 games. They lost to the worst team in the league, 2-0. After all that, Forge gets 3 points against Ottawa. They are now in second place, right? They're in second place. They have 19 points. They are 2 points up on York, who is at 17, and they're level on matches. So after York came to Hamilton and really kind of played spoiler, York hasn't won in 3 matches. So they're stuck on 17 points. Forge leapfrog them. They played the same amount of matches. They'll still have to fend off Cavalry, who has a couple matches in hand, but regardless, this team is in second place. So we can calm down now, right? We can breathe. We can enjoy the rest of our Sunday. We can go into the week feeling good. And then we can prepare for what is going to be a massive test against Halifax, who they have 2 wins and a draw in their last 3 matches. They are very tough to play against. They always have been. They are very good at home. Probably, Forge fans, cover your ears, but I'm sorry. It's just the fact. It's the truth. Halifax, probably the most difficult place to play. Small stadium. They pack it all the time. It's loud. The fans are on top of you. It just is what it is. For an opposing team, it's probably the most intimidating stadium to play in as a visitor because of the elements you're dealing with. So it's going to be a tough one. And this was the perfect match to be played by Forge heading into that battle on Friday in Halifax. So there it is. Whew, even I feel like I can take a breath now after. Listen, it's been a difficult month or so. So we're feeling good now, and the fans are feeling it. In fact, I can see them all. I can see the families on the pitch right in front of me at Tim Hortons Field having a great time. Players out there signing autographs. I'm going to leave the camera view for a moment just to look down to the autograph area, and there are fans. Is it Ford or is it Taylor Swift? I can't tell. The fans are flooded the tunnel and there's a barrier between them and the players, but everyone's feeling good. Everyone's having a good time, and hopefully we can carry that feeling into Halifax on Friday. Speaking of Halifax on Friday, you will, of course, get a match day preview. That's coming up. Also, Mackenzie, who's been killing it with her daily Forge content. Don't forget, if you are not subscribed to the Forge Audio Network podcast, I know there's, as upsetting as it is to have to look at my face. I know we do video, right? I do video, but if you subscribe to our podcast, you get the full gamut of Forge content. Daily stuff from Mackenzie, who's fantastic. And you get my stuff in there too. You get the match day previews and the match interviews and all that good stuff. So keep it locked. Subscribe to Forge on YouTube. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live, and subscribe to the podcast to make sure you are up to date, fully up to date on Forge FC. Your final one more time, 4-3 Forge over Atlético Ottawa. We will talk to you very, very soon.
This has been Match in Review with Anthony Urciuoli on the Forge Audio Network. For the latest on all things Forge FC, subscribe on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.